Welcome back to the Course in Happiness. I'm Alan Gordon, author and creator of the Cycle of Mind system of mental training. And in this video, we're going to dig in and we're going to really get into starting our mental training. Now, I offer this Course in Happiness free to anyone in the world who wants to learn about mind. You have unlimited access, and I would really ask you to share this with anybody that you think will benefit from it, anybody that could be a little bit happier in their life. In addition to this online course, I want you to also listen to at least the first 10 or 12 episodes of the Cycle of Mind podcast, because I created those podcast episodes as a supplement, as part of this training in mind. I'm going to teach you a new skill that no one has ever explained to you before. I'm going to teach you how to control and direct the thoughts in your mind. And you'll see that when you control the thoughts in your mind, you're also controlling your experience of life. This is something you're all going to see for yourself in due time. The first premise of the Cycle of Mind system is that mind is real. Your thoughts actually do create your experiences. Unlike every other animal on the planet, man, us, we have the ability to choose our thoughts. So what that means is we're not prisoners of our past thoughts and beliefs. We're not prisoners of our old life. We can snap our fingers and choose new thoughts. We can create new future for ourselves by simply choosing and guarding our thoughts. So the first thought we're going to put into our mind is a good one. It's happiness. And that's what this course is all about. I really want you to be successful. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned after working with thousands of people. In general, most people who are not successful with this work are not successful because they do not want to change. Let that sink in for a moment. Most people do not want to change. That's because 90% of our lives are governed by habits and thought patterns. We do the same things and we think the same thoughts over and over for decades. From the smallest things we do every day without thinking to the largest decisions we make in our lives, we are governed by subconscious beliefs and habits. Now, after you watch this video, I want you to also watch Mind 101 and Mind 102. I call those my whiteboard videos. And I want you to watch them so you can understand how we got into this situation in the first place. And I want you to see for yourself how powerful your subconscious beliefs really are and how they are controlling everything about your life. As I mentioned, we're governed by habits, but I want to give you an idea of just how deeply ingrained your habits really are. So here's a first homework assignment. It's a fun assignment. Tonight, if you're right-handed, I want you to brush your teeth with your left hand. Now, it'll be funny, right? Because all of a sudden you become aware of hundreds of small little steps that you've never thought of. How much pressure do I put on the toothpaste tube? You might even miss your face and hit yourself in the nose or in your eyebrow. It's funny because you've been brushing your teeth with your right hand for decades. But now we're going to take this habit and disrupt it and force ourselves to do something different. This is just one simple example, but you have millions of physical and mental habits that guide you through your day every day, and you're completely unaware that you're running on these habits. The best description of the average person is that they're running on autopilot. Almost everything they do from habit. And you'll see when you brush your teeth with your left hand that the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go back and brush your teeth with your right hand. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. And it's almost like we can't do anything differently because there's something powerful inside us that's holding us in place, that's holding us in our comfort zone. And you're right. There is something very powerful that's holding you in place. It's your habits and your subconscious beliefs. And for most people, those haven't changed for decades. The toothbrush thing is funny, right? But you have millions of habits, and some of them may not be as funny. What if your habit is every time you scoop food onto your plate, you take an extra scoop? Every time you put ice cream in a bowl, you take an extra big scoop. Well, I can tell you what happens when you do that for 15 or 20 years. You gain weight, you get out of shape. What if every time someone comes to you with an idea or a suggestion, you have a habit to point out the negatives? What if every time your children run around the house screaming, you have a habit of getting angry and your blood pressure rises? What if you have a habit of checking your phone 1,000 times a day? You see, we have millions of habits, big and small. Some of them are funny, some of them are not funny. But I can tell you they're all of them. We're not aware that we have them at all, but they define the quality of our life. So our mission is to become aware of our own thoughts, become aware of our own words and our behaviors so we can break the old negative habits and replace them with positive habits of our own choosing. See, even though you don't see it, your life is spinning in a predictable pattern according to the habits and the beliefs that you've had for decades. And you've long ago become comfortable with this spinning pattern, being out of balance. Some of us are off balance like this. Some are more off balance, and some are even way off balance, and they're spinning really fast. You've heard the phrase, when someone's life is spinning out of control. That's what that means. They're living on autopilot, on habits, on patterns that are out of control. The reason all of us are off balance is because our thoughts are not under our control. Like I said, we're governed by habits and deep subconscious beliefs. It's very rare that we think intentionally. And we don't even know that we're off balance. Our life seemed perfectly normal. It seems perfectly normal to go in this cycle, right? But the one thing we do know, even though we can't recognize our own patterns, the one thing we can recognize is that we're unhappy. And the more out of balance we are, the more unhappy we are. I've seen countless people locked in their own imbalance. They're imprisoned by their own thoughts, their own actions, their own habits and beliefs. They really don't even believe me when I tell them that they are the cause of their own unhappiness, that it's their own thoughts in their own mind that are the cause of their imbalance in life. They argue with me as if they know why they're unhappy. They assure me that it's something else and someone else. Like I said, most people do not want to change. Think about this. They would rather live in their patterns and imbalance than disrupt those patterns and cause themselves to be uncomfortable. But the only way you're ever going to get off autopilot is to intentionally create disruption. If we don't disrupt our habits, if we don't disrupt our old beliefs, they're never going to change. And so our experiences in life will never change. And so our level of happiness will never change. We've got to create a new version of ourselves. And the only way to do it is to start from the inside. The key to unlocking your prison is to intentionally take control of your thoughts. As you become happier, you become more balanced. As you become more balanced, you become happier. Just keep thinking about happiness and everything in your life will come into balance. I want to show you a simple picture. We live in an ocean of stress and negative emotion, and we just drift with the tide in and out. Happiness is like an island. It's like a destination. Most people see it and they try to swim towards it, but they get swallowed back into the ocean of stress and negativity. They never really experience happiness. Other people get a foot on the island, but they're constantly being pulled back by negative forces. They go in and out with the tide. They're happy sometimes. They're unhappy sometimes. I'm going to show you by using your mind how to plant both feet on that island, walk right to the center of the island, and build your mental world in happiness. We're going to talk about each of these 6 elements of happiness in more detail, but I want you to keep these 6 thoughts in your mind as often as you can throughout the day. You've heard the phrase, right? Go to your happy place. Well, now you actually have something specifically to put in your mind when you're feeling unhappy or angry or lonely or any negative emotion. Now you can drop your unhappy thoughts and choose instead these thoughts of happiness. Happiness is a state of mind, right? But it's not easy to attain that state of mind because you're going to have to disrupt your way of thinking. There's a strong tide of old habits and negative emotions that are constantly trying to pull you back to sea. And that's why it's really important that you watch these videos multiple times to reinforce the principles you're learning. And it's also important for you to take advantage of all the workshops and the live webinars. And it's also important to lean on other students in the community to help you through. Those people that connect with the community have a much higher probability of succeeding than those who close themselves off from help and try to do this alone. Nobody's ever explained mind to you before. Mind is invisible, and yet the crazy thing, it's mind that is actually controlling your reality. Mind is alive. Mind is a vibratory force that operates in rhythms and cycles. And it's only by developing all of your senses that you can begin to feel it. Like a surfer surfing a wave, they don't think. They use all their senses to feel the power of the wave. But the most important thing to understand is something you already know. Mind is infinitely powerful, and every thought you think instantly becomes part of your life. And that's why it's really important to train yourself, to control your thoughts. And that's why it's super important that the first thought we choose is happiness, because it's something you can feel. You can feel the results in your own life using all your senses. I will challenge you in this course to use all your senses, to become aware of your thoughts, to become aware of your emotions, to become aware of your behaviors and your relationships, to become aware of the words that you use, to become aware of the effect that you have on other people, to become aware of your own body and your body's energy. I'm going to challenge you to use all your senses. But I want you to make a promise to me right now. I want you to promise to put all your attention into this effort. Set aside just a few minutes a day with no distractions to completely focus on this mental training. See, all the excuses you're going to come up with for not continuing with this training, those are your old beliefs and your old habits pulling you back like the currents and the tide. They pull you away from your new way of thinking. So get out a piece of paper and draw that island with those palm trees. Keep that image in your mind until it becomes a new thought habit. As I said, next thing I want you to do is to watch my 2 whiteboard videos, Mind 101 and Mind 102, so you can get a really good understanding of how you became the person you are today and how you can work to change yourself. After that, it's on to the first element of happiness, health. Here are some of the key points we covered in today's video. 90% of our life is governed by habit and subconscious beliefs, and most people do not want to change. Thought patterns, physical habits, and emotional habits are deeply ingrained, and they hold you in place, which makes it difficult to change. Only by anchoring our thoughts on happiness can we make it to our destination without getting pushed and pulled by the tide of negative circumstances and emotions. Mind is the creative force. It's vibratory and it operates in rhythms and cycles. You are much more likely to succeed if you engage with the community for support. Watch the 2 whiteboard videos, Mind 101 and Mind 102, to gain a deeper understanding of how powerfully your subconscious beliefs hold you in the life you have now. You're doing great. You've made it through this video. I can't wait to get you over to the next video on health. That's the first of the 6 elements of happiness. Every day from now on, you're creating new thoughts and new patterns of behavior. Slowly but surely, you're creating a new cycle of mind.